Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to React with Paul. Today we're going to be reacting to 10 great places in Florida you never knew existed. I do live in Florida, guys, so let's see what this has in store for me. Let's see if I know any of these places or not. And if I don't know them, then I got to go there, you know. Alright guys, well now without further ado, wait. Guys, I want to let you guys know I do have a Patreon up. It's mainly music and all this stuff, so please, I would like for you guys to go check it out. Here's what you'll be getting if you go to my Patreon. What? Yo. Man, just like show off my abs.
As in the summertime, stars in the sky, one dime for a first.
I'm the red light. I'm dancing on the thin line.
Nice. Gosh. Nice.
사사로이 울어서는 아니 됩니다.
싫다! 그 뭐든지 뭔지 하기 싫단 말이다.
너는 여기서 멈출 텐가?
Nice.
원하던 곳이 여기에 다시 돌아올 수 없어도.
Alright guys, well now that you've seen what you'll be getting, I hope everybody goes and joins. Now without further ado, let's get right into this video. Let's go, guys.
Did you know there's a place in Florida where you can visit a classic underground cave with stalagmites and everything?
Wow,
or
that's
that there's
cool.
a place where you can literally step onto Cuban soil without doing any paperwork or even needing
No, really?
a passport? Or that Florida is home to the biggest herd of wild bison east of the Mississippi River? Today we're going to visit all of these and more while sharing some lesser known places around Florida that we think definitely deserve a little bit more love and are worth a visit. Here's 10 places in Florida that you probably didn't know existed. Hiding way up in the northern part of the Florida Panhandle is what I think might be the coolest and most unique state park in Florida, Florida Caverns State Park.
I've never even heard of this park. Wow.
Most people probably associate caves with more rocky and hilly terrain and definitely don't expect to find a cave like this here in flat and swampy Florida, but this place really does exist. I promise. I've been here. I can vouch for it. It's in Marianna, Florida. That's roughly about an hour north of Panama City Beach.
Oh,
and it's
wow.
not too far off of Interstate 10, so it's not a bad little side trip if you're passing through this area and looking for something kind of cool and interesting to do while you're on a road trip. It has all those classic cave features like stalagmites and stalactites, and all kinds of incredible features that are highlighted by some really dramatic lighting. It's hard to believe you're even in Florida when you're down here looking at this stuff.
He's got a point. I mean, I've lived in Florida all my life, and I've never seen anything like this, guys. This is cool.
The park does have guided cave tours that are a lot of fun and really interesting. Tickets for that are $15 and last about an hour. I think that's a really good deal, honestly. We did go on this tour earlier in the year and really did love it. We did a whole video review of our visit here, and I'll put a link to that in the description here if you want to see some more details on this place. Well worth checking these caves out. I really think this is a really good spot, well worth visiting. Next, we're going to go from the Panhandle all the way down to the very tippy tip of the Florida Keys to Fort Jefferson and Dry Tortugas National Park. And yeah, I know, Dry Tortugas is a national park, which isn't exactly some secret place. It's in the same list of places like Grand Canyon and Yosemite that each see millions of visitors a year. And Fort Jefferson that sits out here is the largest brick structure in the Western Hemisphere. So
I've never seen this, guys. I've been down to the Florida Keys. I've been to like mile marker 0, which is like the end, the very, very end of the Keys. But I've never seen this. Wow, that's really cool.
yeah, not exactly subtle. But I am often surprised by the number of people I talk to who've never even heard of it and had no idea there was this massive fortress sitting on a remote island about 70 miles west of Key West.
Okay, so it's not on Key West. It's 70 miles from Key West. Okay, that makes sense now.
It's still considered part of the state of Florida. Construction started on this fort back in 1846, and it was intended to be a strategic fort to defend the Gulf of Mexico. But 16 million bricks later, it was really never even officially completed or ever used for that purpose. It was used as a prison during the Civil War for a little bit, but other than that, this place really never got used as a defense fort. Dry Tortugas is, not surprisingly, one of the least visited national parks in the country. It's just really out of the way. It's a pain and expensive to get out here. To visit, you need to either take a boat or seaplane from Key West. There are trips and tours that do go out here, and a day trip excursion on board a ferry will set you back at least $200. Or you can
It's not bad.
charter a private boat too. I'll leave links in the description on how you get here if this place is on your bucket list. The water out here looks like the Caribbean, and the snorkeling here is excellent. Next, we're going to head from the national park to another state park, Egmont Key State Park. Now, Fort Jefferson isn't the only old fort sitting on a remote island that you need a boat to visit, but this one is a lot more accessible for most folks, and it's a lot easier to reach. So if you're looking for one that's easier to reach, even if it's a lot smaller, Egmont Key is a Florida state park that sits right at the mouth of Tampa Bay, not far from St. Petersburg, and you can get out here by taking a ferry from nearby Fort DeSoto Park. Or you can take your own boat or even kayak out here if you're feeling extra motivated. A lot of boat and shipping traffic through here though, so just keep your head on a swivel if you do decide to do that. And once out here, you'll find the old ruins and remains of a Spanish-American war fort, a still functioning lighthouse that was built way back in 1858, and lots of wildlife since this little island is a national wildlife refuge.
Okay.
The island is home to lots of local birds and has a big population of gopher tortoises. There's some pretty good snorkeling out here too, and some great views of the Sunshine Skyway Bridge and all the shipping traffic and cruise ships that are going in and out of the bay. Really cool place for a day trip. The ferry from Fort DeSoto is $45 for adults and $25 for kids.
It's not bad.
If you've ever driven on Interstate 75 near Gainesville, you might have noticed that the highway cuts right through a wide expanse of swampy prairie for a couple of miles. That's Payne's Prairie State Park. And while the name might be familiar to some people, what most people are absolutely shocked to learn is that this park is home to wild horses and even a herd of wild bison. The horses have been here for generations and are believed to be descendants of horses that were brought here centuries ago by Spanish explorers. But the bison living here were actually reintroduced to the park in the 1970s after some research found that bison probably actually once lived here hundreds of years ago, and this park would be a great place for them to live.
Okay.
To spot them, you do have to have a little bit of good luck because this park is enormous, but a great spot to try your luck is from the observation tower at the visitor center. During our visit here, we did spot them. We could see the bison up there roaming around in the prairie. It was really, really cool to see something like that when you really would only expect to see something like that way out west. Another really unique natural attraction near Gainesville, Devil's Millhopper Geological State Park, is home to one of the widest and deepest sinkholes in the state. Sinkholes are unfortunately everywhere in the state, but what makes this one special is that it's 500 feet across that plunges 120 feet down over a cliff, and that's a really unexpected sight here in Florida. You can go down into the sinkhole on a long and winding staircase where a miniature rainforest thrives in kind of a microclimate down here.
Okay.
And the further down you go, the older the exposed rocks in the walls of Devil's Millhopper get. The rock layers at the top were exposed about 5 million years ago, while the rocks at the bottom are an estimated 34 million years old. Fossils and shark's teeth are embedded all along the walls of the sinkhole too, and geologists have learned a lot about Florida's geological history by studying this place. This place is kind of like a very, very miniaturized Florida version of the Grand Canyon. And it's not too far at all from the University of Florida campus, so this is another one of those places on this list that may not be that widely known, but it's easy to reach if you want to go visit. So this is Orlando, and this is Orlando, and so is this, but this is also Orlando. Okay, technically this is Apopka, a suburb just a short distance north of Orlando, and it's an easy little way to escape all the theme park
I think I've been there before. Kelly Springs, that sounds very familiar.
chaos and spend a day in nature's very own lazy river tube ride. Here at Rock Springs, you can rent a tube and meander down one of the clearest, bluest natural spring-fed rivers in Florida. Each trip down this natural lazy river is about 20 minutes and takes you to a large spring-fed pool where you can hang out and swim, or you can get out, walk the tube back up a short path, and put in for another run. These Florida clear springs aren't exactly a big secret, and a lot of people love to spend some hot days swimming in these Florida springs.
Oh no, Kelly Springs. This is not the place that I went to, guys. The place that I went to was Itchitucknee Springs. That is not really well known either, but something to go and actually visit. So guys, keep that in mind. Itchitucknee Springs.
But I don't think a lot of our out-of-state visitors know just how easy it is to find one like this so close to Orlando, where most of Florida's visitors are going to be anyway. So maybe if you're coming out here and you want to spend a day at something that's kind of an alternative to a water park, check out Rock Springs. This is a really great spot and very popular with locals. Finding a quiet and secluded beach in Florida these days isn't quite as easy as it used to be, and when you think of Florida beaches, a lot of the ones that come to mind first are the famous and busy beaches that attract a lot of tourists, the ones that have the big hotels and high-rises on them and are usually overcrowded with people and can be really noisy. Sometimes you don't want that. You want that peace and quiet day at the beach. That quiet and secluded beach that you can have mostly to yourself still exists. You just need to know where to look. Big Talbot, up near Jacksonville, is one such beach, but it also has some of the most unique beach scenery anywhere in Florida. While most of the beach is wide open and mostly free of people most of the time, one section of it, called Boneyard Beach, is covered in a forest of dead trees and driftwood that have washed up on the sand. It makes this beach very unique for the state of Florida and a great spot for cool photo opportunities. Hey, maybe you're looking for a cool location for your garage band's album cover. I don't know. This could be the place. I just think this is a very unique beach with a lot of unique scenery that isn't very common in Florida. So put this on the list.
Yeah, it is not very common in Florida to see this.
Big Talbot State Park up near Jacksonville. Do we have any scuba divers out there? Or maybe you're thinking about getting certified and just want to know where some of the coolest dive spots around Florida are first? There are lots of wrecks and artificial reefs to check out, but none of them can top the world's largest artificial reef. The 44,000-ton, 888-foot aircraft carrier, the USS Oriskany, that was sunk just off the coast of Pensacola after it was retired from service. In 2006, anything that could be considered toxic to the environment or dangerous to divers was removed from the ship. Then explosives were used to sink the mighty aircraft carrier to the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico.
Wow, that is very neat, guys. But to be honest with you, I'm afraid of diving. I don't know. It's just not knowing what's around me, not hearing what's around me. I mean, there's a visual, you can see straight ahead and so far to the left and so far to the right, but you can't hear. So it's like, I don't know. It's just scary kind of to me to dive. And plus I'm scared of sharks. Very, very terrified of them. I don't know. Diving and me don't mix. So this is something I probably won't ever do.
Divers affectionately call this the Great Carrier Reef. And the Oriskany's final resting place is now in the Gulf of Mexico near Pensacola, where the flight deck is at a depth of 145 feet and the tower reaches up to a depth of 70 feet, making it accessible to recreational open water divers. The flight deck, though, is considered a more advanced dive. It used to be in slightly shallower water, but a hurricane in 2008 pushed it just a bit deeper than its original spot. That's a bit of a bummer since it's now just a little bit harder to reach for the average diver, but definitely this is something that's going to be on a lot of divers' bucket lists. The reef is also a popular spot when it doesn't have divers on it, and it attracts lots of snapper, grouper, barracuda, and amberjack. And if you're a diver who's interested in seeing the Great Carrier Reef in person, there are lots of dive charters that leave out of Pensacola that can take you right there. Hillsborough River State Park was one of the original 6 Florida state parks. That number has grown to 175 parks today, but this one was chosen for one specific feature. It's one of only 2 places in Florida with river rapids. The other one being a stretch of the Suwannee River at Big Shoal State Park in the northern part of the state. Now, let me manage expectations here. These aren't going to be like raging river rapids that you can take a rafting adventure on or anything like that. The rapids are going to be more like a strong, splashy current. But this is another place I put on the list because a lot of people are surprised to learn that we have rapids anywhere in Florida, and because it's really easy to get here. This park is just off of Interstate 75 near Tampa, so it's within reach of lots of people, and it's really easy to get here. And this is a great hiking park too. It's really fun to explore. There's a lot of trails, and it has these really cool suspension bridges to cross over.
Nice.
Good bass fishing and good kayaking here too, but if you're gator-ophobic, there are also a lot of alligators in this park too, so...
Yeah, that comes with Florida. It's a territory, man. We got a lot of gators here in Florida, guys. A lot of them.
just be aware of that. And finally, this is one of my favorites
Cigar
because I
City.
think it's just so interesting and cool. Jose Marti Park is a tiny little postage stamp-sized parcel of land in Tampa's Ybor City neighborhood that serves as a memorial to Cuban hero Jose Marti. But this land is actually owned by Cuba. It is owned by the Cuban government. It is considered Cuban soil, and it's the only piece of land within the U.S. border that is considered foreign territory. It's pretty crazy, right? The specifics of how this land came to be owned by Cuba is a little bit beyond the scope of this video, and I do go into it a little bit more in detail on another video I did while visiting here that I'll link to in the comments. But long story short, the land was donated to pre-Castro Cuba by a group of Cuban freedom fighters who once owned the land here, and now it's a park that anybody can visit. No
Wow,
passport
okay.
or paperwork required. And when you're in this park, and after you step through these gates, you are technically, in the loosest sense of the word, no longer in the US, but in Cuba.
I'm in Florida. I'm in Cuba. I'm in Cuba. I'm in Florida.
Now, I'm
that's
not sure
awesome.
I would go so far as to actually tell people I had visited Cuba or check that off my list of visited countries, but it's a pretty cool little quirk of geography.
Yeah.
So that's a list of 10 places that I think are pretty interesting that I don't think a lot of people knew even exist here in Florida. Let me know in the comments if you've been to any of these and which one is your favorite, or maybe if there's one that I left off that I could put in a future video. And if this or any of my other videos are worth $1 a month to you, please consider supporting us at Patreon. I'll leave a link in the description below. And please remember to subscribe, like, share, do all that stuff. Give me a big thumbs up, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Alright guys, well, my thoughts on this video. I've never been to any of these places that he talked about, guys, so that's crazy. I've been living in Florida all my life and I don't know these places. This is crazy, guys. I need to go check them out. I need to. I really do, because I have a travel channel, guys, and I need to go and travel around Florida and film what Florida has offer for you guys. So yeah, this was very helpful for me. This was an insight for me. I really enjoyed this video because I learned a lot, guys. I really learned a lot that I didn't know about Florida. Oh man, this was awesome. Alright guys, well, if you enjoyed my reaction to this video, you guys already know what to do. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, and also put a comment down below what you thought about this video or any other videos that you guys want me to do. Well, until next time, fam, later. La 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 la. You and your deep voice, Felix.
Oh, she's coughing again.
안녕, 인천댁.
Yes.
Nice.